Corporate Dietitian, and today we're going to be talking about what it means to be a dietitian, and we're also going to talk about some fun stuff with superfoods. And also we're going to answer any of the questions that you might have as they come up. So we did an earlier post and there were questions, but first, let's introduce Courtney.
Hi.
So tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so as Linda said, I'm the corporate dietitian here at Nutrisystem. So I've been a dietitian for almost 10 years now, but I've been at Nutrisystem for about 3 years, working with our product development and research team here.
10 years? 10 years as a dietitian.
Yes.
So, she's fun to take to parties. I swear. She has the best recipes in the world. She'll say this is good for you and you can have it and all that other stuff. So what does it take to be a dietitian? So for Nutrisystem, so you've been here for 3 years. So I mean, you can talk about, let's say, our double chocolate muffin or like the new pumpkin loaf. What goes into finding out what the nutritionals are for that, and how do you determine, like, how long does that process take? So walk us through that.
Yeah, so it is a process, and it's not just me. I work very closely with our food development team, so whenever we come up with a new idea for a new food that we want to launch, we work very closely with the food development team, and what I do really is make sure that the foods that we create align with the nutritionals for our program, make sure it fits into our meal plan, make sure that it's delivering enough fiber and enough protein, because we really pride ourselves on making sure that the foods we deliver are, high protein, high fiber to help keep you full, but also making sure that they're within our calorie limits so that we know that the program as a whole will work for you and really help you to succeed in your weight loss goals.
So wait, so how does this work exactly? So you have pumpkin loaf that you're going to put with the other foods. Is there like a certain amount of calories that go into that particular food? And then so like you have a range, so you know that this number of calories for that amount of days, is that kind of how it works?
Yes, the way we do, we actually have our nutritional specs that we work off of. So we have a range of calories, and all of our breakfasts have to align within a certain number of calories. All of our lunches and dinners have to be within a certain amount of calories. Same thing for snacks.
Oh, and the nutritional content has to be good too, I'm sure.
Yes. So not just calories. We have specs for the calories, but the fat, the saturated fat, the sodium, the protein, so that we want to make sure that over the course of the day, the average nutrition is really meeting the national guidelines. So we make sure that all the meal plans provide less than 2,300 milligrams of sodium, making sure that it's offering high fiber, high protein, again to help keep you full. So when we look at the individual foods, we need to make sure that they fit into that whole meal plan. And if it doesn't, we'll go back and we'll tweak some things with the nutrition to make sure that we reformulate that food so that it does.
Definitely. So I mean, you did hit on something that a lot of people will talk about, and that's the level of sodium in our food. Mm-hmm. And so can you just talk us through that? It's what the levels are and that kind of stuff? Yeah,
so it's a balance, obviously. So what we're aiming for is less than 2,300 milligrams of sodium a day, and that is where the current dietary guidelines for Americans encourage less than 2,300 milligrams a day. So we want to make sure when I look at the nutrition for our program, I'm looking at not just our entrees that we provide and the foods we provide, but I'm also looking at what we're recommending for grocery foods that people add into the day and taking that average into account as well. So we know then, on average, a typical day on Nutrisystem, if you have our foods plus the foods we're recommending that you add in for your power fuels and smart carbs and vegetables, you'll fall under that 2,300 milligram sodium mark.
Well, that's kind of interesting. That's good to know, because I mean, I know a lot of people are concerned about their salt intake and that kind of stuff. But it's good that you're taking all those things into account when the food is formulated. So kind of at the beginning, before everybody gets their food at the end, before you order your food, people know what they're getting.
Right. And we also, for those that want a 1,500 milligram sodium a day limit, because some people do want that lower limit, whether their physician has advised them to be on that limit, or whether they themselves just personally want to limit themselves to 1,500 milligrams a day. We offer some suggestions where they can call in to our dietary services and speak with a weight loss counselor, and can help customize a menu for you to hit that 1,500 milligram mark as well.
Well, that's awesome. Okay, so we have some questions coming in. So we had Pam, who is going to start up the program again. She's lost 30 and kept it off, but needs to lose 25. Pam, congratulations on losing 25 pounds. Oh my gosh. Oh, sorry, on you losing 30, and what a great accomplishment. So make sure that you take the time and celebrate and say, oh my gosh, I did a great thing. That's good. And another 25 pounds. I mean, that's the weight loss will go a little bit slower the more weight you lose. So, you know, if you had a lot to lose, maybe more at the beginning. And I don't know if you can speak to that at all.
Yeah, so typically you'll see a faster weight loss early on, but then, you know, what we recommend is around 1 to 2 pounds per week thereafter. So again, congratulations on the 30 pounds.
I know, it's so good.
Yeah, so, and you know, you're well on your way to hitting that extra 25 that you're looking for.
I know, it's all part of the, once you kind of get going, you're like, I can do it. I can sort of see the goal in sight. And you know, we talk about goal setting a lot and making sure you have realistic goals set. Okay, so let's move on to Mark. And he wants to know, for weight loss, what daily carb intake do you recommend? I guess it's person by person, but you got the nutrition. You look at the dietitian chops coming out. She's ready.
It is person to person. One thing I typically average, you know, say around between 45 to 50% of your calories should be coming from carbohydrates, and that's where we try to align all of the Nutrisystem meal plans. Typically average around 45 to 50% of your calories coming from carbohydrates. I think sometimes people forget that fiber is a carbohydrate, so we want to make sure that we're including fiber. So not all carbs are bad for us. So if we're looking at, you know, including that 45 to 50% of calories from carbohydrates, making sure that those carbs are quality carbs, or what we call smart carbs. So making sure that you're including, you know, lots of fiber, whether it's fruits for your smart carbs, whole grains, the foods that we incorporate. So, you know, the carbs we focus on, again, are those fiber, and really trying to limit some of the, you know, the unhealthier carbs like the added sugar. So we are mindful of that when we formulate our foods, and we really try to develop foods that have less added sugar than some of the typical foods that you may get out at, you know, a retail outlet.
I know, good stuff there. So we do have, I mean, you're making some excellent points about trying to making progress and the way that you want to have the different foods to intake. So so those are the very good things. So we have Noah. Food is, he likes the food. He lost about 2 months, 25 pounds. Hope it keeps working. He's got two black belts, so congratulations. Wow. Way to go, Noah. And he says this weight is rough. So yeah, I hear you, the weight is rough. So let's see, what other questions we have? We don't have any. We had a question from earlier when I posted this, and the question is it common to have a really bad headache at the beginning, and how long does it last? His sister and I have headaches, and it's about 1,200 calories. So
yeah, I mean, especially early on, if you're doing the turbo takeoff week, I know some people experience headaches with that just because their body's adjusting to that lower calorie level. That, you know, if you're used to consuming 2,000 plus calories a day, right, which the average American's consuming around 18 to 2,200 calories a day, and when you go down to that 1,200 calorie mark, you can experience some of those side effects like headaches. I always encourage people just to stay really hydrated. Make sure you're drinking lots of water that first week.
Drink the water.
So we always say, at least 64 ounces of water a day.
I think that makes a lot of sense. So Mark Ryan, I think he asked a question earlier, but he wants to know if white rice is advised for losing weight.
Well, I always say, again, go with the whole grains. So I would, say choose brown rice over white rice. Basmati rice is also a really great option. It's lower on the glycemic index, so it can help with, helping you stay full longer.
That's good. So back to Tracy and the headache. Tracy, if you're having a really bad headache and you want to call in and talk to one of our weight loss counselors, they can help. The water will help. But sometimes we don't want anybody walking around with headaches. So if you're having an issue, yes, there's caution that you need to take. So feel free to give us a call if that headache is getting annoying, or always call your doctor. Okay. So next question: is it wrong to enjoy one of the Nutrisystem snacks right after the dinners?
No, I think it's really a personal preference as to when you want your snack. Some people may want to hold on to that snack for a little bit longer to get them through the evening. Others may be okay with just having it right after dinner. The important thing is that you're eating all of your Nutrisystem foods each day. Yeah. So whether you have your snack right after your dinner, again, it's more of a personal preference. If you can go the rest of the evening with limiting yourself then to really just the vegetables that you could add in for the rest of the evening, then that's fine. You can go ahead and have that snack right after dinner.
And so Crystal says, should he wait 2 hours? So Chris, a lot of times after, like even for me, when I finish a meal, I get that. I must have a sweet afterwards. It's like signaling that the meal is over. So for me, if having the snack right afterwards is wrong, I don't want to be right. so I'll actually have the snack as well, because it's one of those things for me, it feels like I'm concluding the meal, especially at dinner. And a lot of times people ask, mixing up dinners and lunches and that kind of stuff. But still, I don't know why it is for me with dinner, every time I have dinner, I feel like that dessert thing. I don't know. It wasn't always brought up with dessert, but I always feel like something like the snickerdoodle cookie or the pumpkin loaf or something I think is good to have afterwards.
Yeah, so I think it's important to find what works for you. And like I said, I think it's okay to have it right after dinner. If you feel like you're still getting hungry throughout the rest of the evening, and the vegetables just won't do, then I would say maybe having more vegetables with your dinner and saving that snack for a little bit later if you find like you're getting hungry. But I think it really is an individual preference.
Yeah, I think so too, totally. Because some people are like, I'm starving around 9 o'clock. If I don't have the snack, I'm going to die. So we don't want that. So make it work for you the way that it does. So, spacing those meals out will help you be less hungry. But obviously, if you're having like, I must have a cookie, go have the cookie. It's not a bad thing. Okay, so Mark wants to know, hi, Susie. She said she finally caught a live session. Hi, Susie. But Mike wants to know, he's new to Nutrisystem and it's going nicely, and some days he just doesn't have the time to gather the extra carbs and proteins that he should. Is eating just the Nutrisystem 3 meals and snacks too little calories?
It is. So we do encourage you to make sure you're getting all of those grocery food additions. I know it can be hard. We're all busy. I always say try to plan for the week ahead. So if you can, prep all your snacks on Sunday night, getting ready for the work week.
Sure.
So that things are just easy to grab and go. Thinking through a list of what are some smart carbs and power fuels that are quick and easy, whether it's, a little bag of nuts for your power fuels, or whether it's some fruit like apples or bananas that you can just grab and go real quickly and have them available. Putting some of those smart carbs and power fuels in your desk, some things that'll keep.
Yeah.
So things are just handy and easy, and you don't really have to think too much about it. But I do definitely recommend making sure you get all of your power fuels and smart carbs in during the day.
So easy stuff or like string cheese.
Right.
Little bits of fruit, those little bags with the apples in them, those things are really great. Cutting up carrots. So these types of things, if it's, as far as are you eating 3 meals and 2 snacks and is that enough? It's probably not enough, and you don't want to feel hungry, so you want to feel satisfied. So I think that's definitely important to try to do like Courtney says, and to make a plan so that you can have those foods throughout the day, because you don't really want to deprive yourself, because at the end, if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm starving all the time, you don't want to be that way. So I understand that you don't always have the time, but
right, and I think sometimes we think, okay, with weight loss, it's about the calories. So if I reduce my calories even further, I'm going to lose more weight. And it doesn't work like that. If we take our calories too low, it can actually stall our weight loss. So again, it's important to make sure you have all your Nutrisystem foods, but then also you're adding in those grocery foods.
Agreed. Mark has a question about preservatives and additives in food are very bad. Does Nutrisystem use any of these in their food?
So we have about 150 foods in our current portfolio, and more than 120 of them do not contain any artificial preservatives.
Wait, did you say none? Say it again.
So none. No artificial preservatives.
So you can actually sort by those if that's something that's important to you. You can.
And all of our foods are free of artificial colors, sweeteners, and flavors. So we're using all natural sweeteners, natural colors, natural flavors in our foods. So that was a big effort we took about 2 years ago, where we removed all of the artificial flavors, sweeteners, and colors from all of our foods.
I know, it's such a good thing, right?
Yeah.
So we have another question, and it's about the strawberry shakes. You don't know this question. They were discontinued a while ago. They're not back, and I don't know when they'll be back. I don't know if they will. I don't know if there's a plan, but so here's a trick. Ready? Vanilla turbo shake. Take strawberries, mix it up, bang. Beautiful. They taste really good.
Yes.
So there's lots of crazy different things that people put out there as far as what to do with the turbo shakes to make them taste better. So there's a lady, Lisa, who does chocolate cherries. So she puts cherries in them. So she makes a chocolate wild cherry turbo shake. So you could do the same thing with strawberries and that kind of stuff. So be inventive. I know the strawberry shakes were good, but
I know
but you can definitely make it work.
I've heard a lot of people adding coffee to their vanilla turbo shakes as well. If you want that coffee drink, but a little healthier than going out to
or the chocolate with the
coffee
coffee, or the vanilla with the coffee. I mean, it's very good.
It's delicious.
Yeah. So what other questions do we have? Okay, so let's move on to superfoods. for the Super Bowl. So for the upcoming weekend, Sunday is the Super Bowl. I know there's going to be snacks everywhere. So I was talking to Courtney and I said, okay, Super Bowl, superfoods, do these things go together? She kind of gave me the look like, not really, but she was going to give it a shot. So she's come up with a couple of superfoods that you could have with the Super Bowl. So I figured it was educational and delicious. So she's gonna. What have you got?
Yeah. So we can try to be healthy on Super Bowl Sunday. I think one of the big ones that my favorite is avocado. Not only does it have the healthy fats, but there's also fiber and potassium in avocados, which a lot of us don't get enough fiber and potassium in our diet. The one thing I will caution with avocado, while it's healthy and it's delicious, it is high in calories just because of all the healthy fats in there. So you want to be mindful of the portion size that you're serving yourself if you're going for that guacamole on Sunday. I always tell people stretch your guacamole and add some veggies to it, so you can kind of get a little bit more, but help control the calories a little bit. So whether you want to toss some cucumber or tomatoes in with the avocado, it stretches it. And you feel like you're getting a little bit more, but not getting all those calories.
Right, so the avocado is good. It's a great idea to mix it with tomatoes and cucumbers and to get it a little stretchy and to do some, so what about the chips? What do we do with those?
Well, so I usually say, go for veggies instead of chips.
Ah,
so whether you're going to use cucumber slices,
Got it.
I actually like to kind of quarter bell peppers and use them to dip.
Oh, that's good.
Instead of the chip. So there's, there are healthy alternatives.
All right.
You could also make your own chips. I know a lot of people are into making kale chips.
Whoa, boo. Okay, so kale chips are another superfood,
Yeah.
and it's a nice segue because we were talking about kale chips and kale in general, and I'm not a fan. I don't love kale, and I think you're either on one side of the fence or the other, where you're like, this is really great for you, but we don't like the way it tastes, or I don't like it and the taste isn't good. So do you actually like it?
I do. I like kale. I'm also known for sneaking kale into almost every dish that I make.
Oh
at
my
home.
goodness!
So we eat a lot of kale in my house.
Safety tip: do not go to Courtney's.
But you don't have to limit yourself to just kale. If you check out the leaf, we have a really great article on there on other veggies you can use to make chips. So whether you want to make sweet potato chips,
I know I saw the recipe for sweet
you can
potato
make
chips.
beet-
It was really good.
beet chips.
Beet chips, haven't heard of that one.
So there's lots of options, not just
Yeah.
kale. So you're not limited to just kale.
Okay, wait. So there was one more thing when we were talking about chickpeas, and I was asking you. So I saw the chickpeas on the list that you gave me, and I was like, okay. When I think about chickpeas, I think about those. You just like throw them in a salad and that kind of stuff. So can you just kind of walk me through how this superfood you could eat on Super Bowl Sunday? How could you do that?
So chickpeas are becoming very popular as a snack. You can actually roast chickpeas and they become really crunchy. So it's kind of an alternative to a peanut or another crunchy snack like chips. So I say go for the chickpeas. The really great thing about them is you can make them sweet, you can make them savory, because if you're making them, you can add whatever spices you want. So whether you want a little bit of cinnamon on them, we have a really great recipe on the leaf again for roasted chickpeas that have like a nacho cheese flavor. So I encourage you to go onto the leaf and check out that recipe if you want to make your own, chickpea snacks.
I know. So roasted chickpeas didn't sound as bad as just opening up the can and like in the water. I'm like, it didn't sound as bad. So I was thinking, what, maybe I could do it. So maybe you could do it too. So there's another superfood. Do you want to just pick one, or you want me to tell you which one?
Which one do you got?
I got Greek yogurt.
Yes. So Greek yogurt is a great option to get protein.
Yep.
Also those probiotics, which we love probiotics because it helps our healthy gut, helps our digestion, it helps with build our immune system. So it's really important this time of year with colds and flus and everything going around. But I think Greek yogurt makes a great substitution in a lot of dips where you're using heavy cream cheese or sour cream. You can replace it with the Greek yogurt and get the same texture, the same tangy flavor that you're looking for, but with fewer calories, and those good probiotics.
Sure. Okay. So Greek yogurt, it's a thing. So the one other one is, and I know it's really trendy right now. I know the chickpeas are. Kale is kind of, it's been around for a little while and people are accepting it more. But there is a pizza that I've seen made with cauliflower. So I've seen the cauliflower mashed potatoes, the faux potatoes. So now they have this pizza that's made out of cauliflower. So can you just
so everybody's doing everything with cauliflower. So I think cauliflower is, the food, I think, for 2017. But you can make cauliflower pizza. You can make pizza crust out of cauliflower. You can make breadsticks. I've seen cheesy breadstick recipes using cauliflower.
So cool.
People make fried rice. On game day Sunday, you can also make, I've seen people roast it with buffalo seasoning. So instead of those buffalo wings, if you want that flavor but want a free food on Nutrisystem, you can make some buffalo cauliflower.
This is true because the Tabasco or the buffalo seed is free. It's one of those free things, so you can just use a teaspoon. But really the buffalo that I like to use is I take it and put it in the macaroni and cheese and make buffalo macaroni and cheese. I just think that's super tasty. But I'm sorry, I'm stealing your thunder with your superfoods. Okay, go ahead.
And I think the cauliflower it's even more convenient today because a lot of companies are actually making the rice cauliflower. I've seen grocery stores that are doing it for you, so you can already just buy it already chopped up into making the rice. So it's super convenient if you don't want to chop it at home.
Okay, so we have another question from Mary Lou. She's always been confused about eating almonds. It says you can have 1.5 teaspoons, and she wants to know how she measures that. Is that just one almond?
Well, so with almonds, you can actually have 2 tablespoons of almonds will count as a power fuel on Nutrisystem. So I usually say it's about a half of a handful. So anywhere between probably 10 or 12 almonds would be that serving size. So it's about half an ounce.
10 or 12. Mm-hmm. Okay. What I do is when I get my nuts, I actually do this. So every Sunday night, you said to be prepared. I'll take the nuts and I take them out in measuring cups and I put them all in sandwich bags and then I put them in a basket so I can just grab them when I'm ready to go. I know that sounds really, but the whole nut container. And my husband is always thrilled to help me.
Yeah.
Just kidding. He really is. He loves it. He's like, oh, we're doing a project. So it's Sunday night, 7 o'clock. It's the deal. I'm pulling the nuts out. I'm pulling the different pieces of food out that that I need so I can grab and go and make it quick. And almonds are one of those.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me, I always tell people also if you're going to go for nuts, I really like pistachios because I feel like you get a little bit more. So you get about 20 pistachios is about 2 tablespoons. And I also feel like if they're in the shell, you got to work a little bit harder, so it takes me a little bit longer to eat them.
There was actually a thing called the pistachio principle. That pistachios, you felt like you were getting more because of the amount of work that you had to do to get into them. So don't buy the shelled ones. Mm-hmm. But so it's called the pistachio principle. It means eat one at a time. And the same thing with the chickpeas or anything else like that. Even the popcorn, if you just eat it one at a time, we're often taking handfuls or 3 or 4 of something and putting it into our mouths all at the same time. And if we slow down a little and we do the pistachio principle, it's not trademarked, I don't think. But if it is, sorry. And but it's one of those things that helps you measure out and to enjoy that food more specifically rather than rushing and just like, I'm starving, I just need to eat it now. So definitely a helpful thing.
Yeah, but so again, I would say 10 to 12 almonds would be about half an ounce is equivalent to that 2 tablespoons that we say for a power fuel.
Okay, so looking at other questions, Pam lost 117 pounds.
Wow.
And she always looked at 117, and she looks forward to the 10-pound bears. The bears are awesome. We love the bears. And her question is, why do we have to wait for 25 pounds after 100? So after the 100-pound bear, they go 125 and 150. Because these bears are much more special. So you just have to wait a couple more pounds. But congratulations, Pam. What a great thing that you've achieved. I mean, 117 pounds, that's amazing.
Awesome, yeah.
So congratulations. Hang in there for the bear. The bear will bear with you. And people love to have those bears hanging around as those markers, those reminders of all the weight that they've lost. So let's see if we have more questions. And what we can do here is, you want to talk about, do you have one more superfood you want to talk about? Let's see if we had tomatoes, nuts. So you already talked about nuts, which are almonds. I think I don't think
we talked about tomatoes. So
we didn't talk about tomatoes?
No. So I also say tomatoes can be a superfood, and really it's because of the lycopene that's in them. So it's an antioxidant that's been shown to help with heart health. And I think tomatoes are a great game day food because you can make your own salsa, which is what I love to do. So, and again, I kind of skip over those chips. So if you make your own salsa, I say go with the veggie chips. that you make yourself, or you can always, use the veggies. So the pepper strips, cucumber slices are a great thing to use with that salsa.
That's good. Okay, so we have one more question. If you don't use your power fuel, can you use it and have 2 power fuels in the afternoon?
So I guess you're referring probably to the morning power fuel.
Yeah.
And you can, yes. So if that's what works best for you, we obviously encourage people to space it out if you can and have that morning snack, because we find a lot of people are getting hungry in between their breakfast and lunch. So, we don't want you to be so starved that by the time you get to lunch, you're going to want more food and eat over what you should be eating. But if you find that you're not hungry during that morning snack and you want to have that power fuel later on in the day, then you can definitely do that.
Oh wait, we have 2 more questions. One is, I've been on Nutrisystem for 2 weeks and lost 8 pounds. Congratulations, Frida. But she doesn't want to have to make too many choices. Can she just eat the Nutrisystem entrees and add veggies and a salad?
So again, you need to make sure you're including those power fuels and smart carbs. So it's an important part of the program.
Yeah.
It helps get even more protein in there, helps get fiber, but most important, it helps make sure you're at the right calories that you need.
Right. We don't want you to be hungry. And then the other question is, I also take is fruit infused water, does it count, or does she need to consider it as a smart carb? And this is from Anne. So she drinks fruit infused water. Does that count as a power fuel?
No, so that would actually, it should be, depending on how much fruit you're actually putting in there, but it should, for most people, it would be a free food, because it's really not, that fruit juice that you're putting in is not contributing that much to the nutrition. Now, if you know that you're actually putting in like 100% juice and you're putting in a larger quantity that goes above those 10 calories, then you would just count it as an extra. But you're not going to get, I don't think, I could be wrong, but if you're putting about half a cup of fruit juice in there, then yes, you want to count it as a smart carb. But most people probably are not using a half a cup of fruit juice to infuse their water.
No, and if you're taking like chunks and chewing it, not fruit infused water, something different.
Right.
And then there's another question, how do you count, let's answer this one. So Mary Lou takes vitamins that has some calories in them. Does she have to count those?
You would not if it's under the 10 calories. If it's under 10 calories, which most vitamins are not providing more than 10 calories, then it would be a free food.
Vitamins are free. That means you can take them. And then Terry wants to know how you count V8 juice.
So V8 is actually counted as a vegetable. So it would be a half a cup. We do encourage you to look for the low sodium options, because V8 can have a lot of sodium in it. But a half a cup would count as a vegetable serving.
Excellent. You are a wonderful person. You have so much information. You have this vast knowledge about not only how Nutrisystem foods are created, and you have a lot that goes into all that kind of stuff, but you also have all this other stuff. It's fantastic. It's wonderful to have you here. So you want to say goodbye to everybody?
Yeah, goodbye, everybody. This has been great. It's been a pleasure to answer your questions, and it's been fun.
Yeah, so thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. It's been great. Thank you.
Thanks.
And we'll see you guys, and we'll be here on Thursday. And so we'll see you then. Take care.